What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Craftavore Tastes. And today we're digging into a beer from a new brewery that I've never had before. This is from Firefly Hollow Brewing Company out of Bristol, Connecticut. This is Cone Flakes Double IPA. So, Cone Flakes Double IPA, I believe, is brewed with 6 different hops. I'm going to try to get through some of them. I looked it up previously just because not familiar with the brewery. This is actually a can that was sent across by my buddy Rob. Thank you so much, Rob. I appreciate it, man. Always like trying new breweries and new beers. So I think it's Zeus, Nugget, Mosaic, potentially Citra, something and something. 6 different hop varieties. So, double IPA coming in at 7.7% ABV. Super excited to get into this one. So, let's get straight in there, man. Let's do the drill. Let's go ahead and pop a top on this guy. Let's take a look at the appearance, get the aroma, taste it, and then we'll rate it. All right. So, excited always to try something new. All right. Let's get this into a glass. All right. That guy right over there. All right, cool. So, beer comes in a kind of really nice, kind of darker kind of gold color, almost kind of like borderline like amber. Got yourself about almost like a finger, a little bit more than a finger of like kind of like fluffy, kind of really super nice head. I wouldn't necessarily say that it's 100% kind of. I wouldn't. It's hazy, right? It's got a hazy kind of orange kind of glow to it, which is kind of cool. Got a little bit of proteins and there are some kind of things in suspension there, just a little bit. So I guess it's New England style, right? Unfiltered, you know what I mean? I wouldn't necessarily say that it, completely 100% looks totally New England style. Don't know if they're exactly going for that or if Firefly Hollow does most of their IPAs that way. But yeah, I mean, it's unfiltered style, right? Like, it's relatively, can't see through it or whatever it may be, but beer looks pretty cool. Looks kind of beautiful. Looks nice in a glass. So let's go ahead and get ourselves an aroma. All right. So, got some kind of, got some like resiny pine going on there. Got a little bit of, maybe a little bit of kind of like mango. Oh man, there is... kind of move the beer around a little bit, just to open her up a little bit. There is this kind of really interesting, dank kind of herbal quality going on, like herbs, like actually like in like fresh herbs kind of deal, like almost like a little bit of even like a little bit of like black pepperiness kind of going on. So like a pepper spicy kind of legit like. If you grabbed like a bunch of like dried herbs and then just like, took them in your hand and like, grinded them up so like they kind of like, dissipated and turned into powder and you smelled your hands and fingers like that kind of like herbally. Like it's interesting. It's got a cool little kind of like herbal, strong kind of like herbal like spice backbone on it, which is unique. Yeah, maybe even like a little bit of I don't know if I said grapefruit yet, but like a little like a maybe like a ruby grapefruit or something along that line, like not like just like your regular grapefruit, almost kind of like a little bit more of a deeper citrus kind of grapefruit. Smells interesting. Let's go ahead and give her a taste. Rob, thank you so much, man. Cheers. All right. Woo. So yeah, definitely going to say outside of the the look of it from an unfiltered perspective. Definitely not in the New England style. I would not consider that to be a New England style IPA. Mainly because first sip, whoo, huge pop of bitterness that comes up. Getting a little bit more of that, like, again, that bitterness can be a bit more kind of ruby red grapefruit citrus up front, a little bit of kind of pine notes kind of in the middle. That bitterness from, I'm assuming those 6 different hop varieties is pretty strong. Like, you get that immediate pop of bitterness the minute that you taste this beer, and it hangs on your palate. Like, I just took a sip of this probably at this point, maybe 45 seconds ago, and it's still freaking hanging, like, right there. It's there. Which is kind of nice, man. Like, obviously, having so many New England style IPAs these days, right? That being kind of like the predominant kind of hype style. It's nice to kind of get back to a bit more of something a little bit more on the bitter side. Like I kind of dig it. It's awakening my palate a bit. Going back into another taste. Yeah, it's heavy on the bitterness. There's no question about that. But it's a nice beer. I actually kind of really dig it. I like it. Like I said, it's very kind of ruby red grapefruit kind of forward. You're getting a bit of that kind of like spiciness as it relates to kind of like that big kind of huge herbal note that I got in the aroma. You're getting that a little bit in the taste. Middle of the palate is kind of like that dank kind of pine kind of thing going on. And then even maybe more so aroma than taste, maybe even a little bit of kind of like sweet kind of candied mango going on there. I dig it. It's a pretty nice beer. Like I said, it to me it kind of tastes a little bit more like maybe an IPA or a double IPA recipe from a couple of years ago. Obviously the especially in the Northeast, recipes for IPAs have swung a little bit more towards that New England style. So it's nice to kind of see something a little bit different and taste something, a little bit more kind of, for lack of a better term, and I hate to say it, but like, slightly a little bit more old school, right? A little bit kind of more kind of, kind of a little bit more malt forward, although even though, I'm not getting a tremendous amount of, sweetness, it hides its alcohol extremely, extremely well. At 7.7% ABV, I wouldn't know that there would be that. So, nice little beer here. Not too bad. One last sip before we give her a rating. Yeah, absolutely. Not bad. All right. Rating for the Craftavore Tastes. I think that's a solid double IPA. I'd like to have that every now and then to kind of change things up, and kind of bring me back to, a recipe that was, maybe prominent a couple of years ago, and, just kind of diversify the palate a little bit more, or diversify kind of what you're drinking, based on the fact of just how dominant New England style IPAs have become, especially here where I live in the Northeast. So I'm going to give that a 3.75 caps. Really dig that kind of beer. Super kind of nice, a little bit more on the old school side, but, that ain't a bad thing from time to time. All right? So, that'll do it for this episode of the Craftavore Taste. I hope you join me again for another episode where I drink, I review, I rate, and then I repeat. Cheers, guys.